Hello everyone, it's Isabella here and welcome back to the channel. So today's video, first of all, happy Monday. Second of all, I know last week I was supposed to upload more content, but I'm gonna be honest, I was like very tired. And then I honestly was like, you know what, I wanna take like a longer weekend and I wanted to do more fall stuff, which I was really excited about. I have been trying to enjoy this October month because I literally love this season. But anyways, speaking of October and spooky season scary shit, we're gonna be reacting to a Jessie Lee call. No, seriously though, you guys, this was another call that was actually sent to me because I did one previously, which I'll have pop up over here. You guys really like that one, but this is a different one talking about like seasons, sowing and reaping. I don't really know. Whatever it's called, whatever she's going to talk about, I guess we are going to be learning. So before we hop into today's video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button down below. My merch, vlog channel, podcast, all that good stuff is in the description below. And yeah, let's get into it.
Jessie Lee, you can call me Boss Lee. And oh my gosh, I am literally blocked from sharing on Instagram. That's terrible. Anyway, what's going on? I want to teach a lesson from, first of all, hold on, let me discipline my disappointment in Instagram for a second here. Okay. But anyway, so I'm going to teach you something I learned from my first mentor ever. If you're tuning in live, you can drop a 1 in the comments below. If you're catching a replay, you can drop, I miss you in the comments below. I'll tell you guys that I miss you because I do. I'm back. And I asked on Instagram yesterday, if you guys wanted me to continue to do trainings like this on here. And it was like a resounding, oh my God, please do some training. So I just got back from church. It's Sunday morning, obviously. And I'm getting really heavy back into gym roan because I had a discovery the other day where I was talking to our team and I said, you know what, one of the things is that I've noticed is that the reason I had such very fast success at the beginning of my network marketing journey is actually because I was developing my mind way before I was trying to develop anything else. And so I don't know who needs to hear that, first of all, but just share and engage with me in the comments below. I can see you on TikTok. I can see you on Facebook. I can see you on YouTube. Instagram's not working, which of course is my most popular, whatever the hell, but it doesn't really matter. Let's just rock and roll. So hi, Taylor. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Tamara. Hi, JB. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Angelique. Hi, Laura. What's going on? How are you? Tracy. How are you? How are you? How are you? So this is the law of sowing and reaping. And I'm literally going to teach straight from my notes that I had written, years ago when Jim Rohn first taught this to me. And when I learned this initially, I thought to myself, I don't know, like, is this true? Is this fake? Is this whatever? And so the people I'm going to be talking to right now, you can put a yes in the comments if this is applicable to you, are probably the people who are a little like, why is this not necessarily working? Or why is this not working fast enough? Or wondering, why do people quit? Like if you're wondering, why do people quit? Why do people stop working? Why do people quit dreaming? Why? I think this is going to give you some clarity. And I didn't need the clarity when I was day one in business, but that's like when I found Jim Rohn. And so I'm grateful for that. But basically the principle here, it is biblical, but no matter what, just keep on sowing. Okay. It's straight from the Bible, the law of reaping and sowing, but basically the sower and the
Okay, couple things here. I think Jessie Lee likes to use anything that people can really connect to emotionally to try and make people feel like what she's saying is significant. So for example, right here, she's bringing up the Bible with like, this is straight from the Bible. So she knows she has a more religious demographic, I believe. And so by using that, she's trying to say, well, God says so. Therefore, trying to add more of a kind of like additional backup for her. You know what I mean? So she's able to kind of go on and say whatever because she's like, well, this is pulled from the Bible. So she's talking about sowing and reaping. I don't really know all of what she's going to get into with this topic, but she's talking about, well, this is like, you know, why people quit. This is why people don't stick to it. And again, we know a lot of reasons why people do not stick with multi-level marketing is because, like, again, you can only lose so much money. You can only be drained for so long until you hit a breaking point. And a lot of people, it doesn't take very long to hit their breaking point when the MLM essentially sucks the life out of you in multiple avenues. Because one thing we noticed is, while we see a lot of people display how the MLM is ever involved with all aspects of your life, we also see that it literally hurts all aspects of your life. So when you sit there and you're like, oh, well, this is the reason that people are leaving, or this is the reason why, they always blame it on mindset and not any actual legit problem to be had. And again, in order to back up this claim, we're now using the Bible for that.
Seed, right? So the first part of the story is you need to have a good seed. If you are a sower who is trying to reap the rewards of a harvest, you have to start with good seed. And this might not make any sense to you, but I'm just telling you, it just simply means if you're trying to have a good idea, a good product, a good business, success, etc., you have to make sure you have a worthwhile goal. Okay. Some people do not make worthwhile goals. They have these crazy ideas that are just silly. They don't make sense. They're all scattered. And it's interesting because I've trained so many times. And when I think about it, I'm training from Jim, even though I don't think about it when I'm training. like the how does not really matter. And I know we think about that. You can write the word how in the comments below. I know we think about that sometimes, like, how am I going to get to rank blah blah blah? How am I going to close the month? How am I going to make $1 million? How am I going to have the car, the house, the success, be able to donate? Like, and I just want to tell you guys to stop thinking so much about the how. The how is, quite frankly, extremely irrelevant. What you want to focus on is really just that actual goal, where you want to go. What is the destination? Okay.
What the hell does that even mean? Okay, so she's telling people then to ignore the how and look at the goal only. So I don't understand how that even makes any logical sense for anything remotely. So you want people to ignore the map that allows them to get to point A to point B, but just look at the goal and then don't think about all that extra stuff. Like, I mean, honestly, I actually wonder if we really broke down the direct actual things that you have to do in an MLM before people join, I wonder if people would still be joining as much. Because if we were able to have an entire map, and also that's why I think these videos are so significant, but if we break things down really particularly and show this is the type of stuff you're gonna have to do, this is what the team culture that you're joining of represents, this is how much you have to recruit, these are how many Zoom calls you're gonna have to be on. I wonder with all that, and then again, because you don't have a chance necessarily of doing that, showing an entire map of how to possibly get there, and then be like, oh, even with doing all of these, you still have maybe a 1% chance of hitting all this. Do you think a lot of people would probably join? Not as likely, no. Actually, interesting to me how she's like, well, don't focus on all that. For me, I'm a very like visual person. I like breaking things down. For me, I run with different platforms. I have so much going on, so I have to break things down step by step, so I know how the hell I'm gonna get through all of this week's content. I'm gonna get everything done. I'm gonna get it completed. And I feel better actually, or if anything, if I see all that I'm doing and I realize that something isn't working or it's like not helping me out, I can adjust according to that. Whereas with this, it's like she doesn't want people to visually see all of what's gonna be required to go into this effort, because if they did, then they wouldn't look at the goal as that enticing anymore. They'd actually sit there and be like, this goal is actually unrealistic. I could actually hit a goal of making good money somewhere else, or I could actually have a good community of friends without being emotionally drained. You see what I'm saying?
Number one is he talks about the birds will get some. And if you are an affiliate marketer, if you are a network marketer, if you are in sales of any kind, you need to hear this, okay? When you first start, especially sowing these seeds, and you're planting the seeds, you're sowing the seeds. Look, he says, first of all, some of the seeds are going to fall to the ground before you plant it. And then he goes, the birds are going to.
So now I get what she's talking about with her analogy. So first of all, let's talk about the analogy in comparison to the business or anything else for this world. And again, we can have the benefit of the doubt for multiple different categories of this analogy. So what I mean by that is, let's compare this analogy to a small business. Let's compare this analogy to network marketing. Let's compare this analogy to working a 9-to-5. Like starting to plant the seeds. The illusion of planting the seeds, meaning you are, again, as a farmer, you're planting the seeds to start growing so you can have something to harvest, and whatever you're working on harvesting can grow and then flourish and become an even like bigger field or whatever the case may be. Now, again, there's other variables like the weather, everything with your climate, if something takes, if the birds get it, whatever the case may be. However, what we see is if people have the knowledge of farming, if people have the capacity to do it, if people have the tools to do it, then you can be very successful and actually counter the things that happen around you with things like the climate or the birds, that kind of shit, right? Same goes for being in a 9-to-5. Not everything is going to work out for you, but you can do a lot of things and plant those seeds that can lead to good experiences. Not everything's going to go right. However, you have a good chance of success. That success can mean promotions. That success, though, is getting compensated as well for your efforts and work. And again, not saying a 9-to-5 is always perfect and sunshine and rainbows, but you know at the end of the day, when you're done working at that job, you're going to reap what you sow. Small business, again, following this analogy, you can create your products, you can develop things. Is there a complete guarantee that your business is going to take off? No. However, the chances of it doing well because you have the knowledge, have the proper marketing, and have a good product are significantly higher. Whereas if we look at this, right, we see a lot of leaders, even like Jessie Lee, for example, where they plant the seeds, right? They do all these things, yet they still, even as top leaders, have to MLM hop. If they're top leaders, that's a very lucky, fortunate chance, because still the MLM isn't stable after a couple of years, and that's why they jump, because they literally just need to keep going. Or you are like the majority of the people that are in. No matter what you do, no matter how many Zoom calls you hop onto, the numbers don't change. And again, I always refer back to if you genuinely go and look at any MLM income disclosure statement, look at how the numbers are represented. It shows how majority of people don't make a lot of money and how throughout the years that doesn't change. And this is also replicated through every single MLM. This isn't like absolutely drastically different. They all show similar data. So again, it is nothing compared to other real opportunities out there that can actually provide you something. So this analogy cannot fucking correlate with this when numbers are against you. See, if you're planting something and they're like, okay, statistically, there is almost less than 1% chance of that fucking plant growing, I think someone would be like, okay, then why am I planting this plant then? I should find something else that works that would actually be sustainable for me.
I get them, and I wouldn't worry about that. If you've ever listened to Jim Rohn, you know, right? I wouldn't worry about the birds. I wouldn't sign up for that, okay? Like, here's the thing. If you think about the birds as, you know, maybe it's the haters, maybe it's the naysayers, maybe it's the parents who are like, oh, no, don't do one of those things, right? Don't go to that meeting, don't check out that opportunity, don't go do that. Oh, the birds.
Jessie, so why are we referring to people who are trying to instill some critical thinking as the birds? Again, there are going to be people that are fucking weird or do not want you to succeed. And that is absolutely true with anything. However, then there's also the aspect of it where there are people that are genuinely looking out for you. And so again, Jessie, why are they calling it a scam? Why are they telling people not to do it? After so long, there's our ways of proving if things are not actually a scam or really are. And I'm sorry, but how is it not a scam when a majority of people join and don't get what they're told that they can get?
The birds in the comments, right? The birds are going to get some of these, right? It's like before the seed even gets to the ground, some of the birds are going to swoop in and take that person away from the opportunity. And you just have to understand that is coming, okay? That is coming. And I wouldn't worry about that, okay? So when it falls on the side of the road and that seed never makes it to the actual soil, some of the birds...
Wait a minute, hold up. Also, so it's very fascinating how she is blaming people like us for the seeds disappearing, right? As if the haters or the people are pulling or taking something away from you. When someone is vocalizing a different opinion or something, they're not necessarily taking something away from you. It is you and the individual that can stop it altogether. So it's hilarious how she's actually putting that much power into the analogy of the bird, because the bird is people like us. So she knows our capacity then. She knows our capabilities to look at someone and say, hey, please look at this. Please look at this extra information because it's important. She knows the impact. And so what she's trying to do is, again, claim that we're the birds and we're taking something away from them, which in all reality, we're not taking anything away. We're simply showing another perspective and saying, hey, look, this is the backstory of this leader. This is the stuff that's going on with this emblem. Here are the lawsuits. Here are actually the numbers of how many people actually hit top leader like these people say that you can hit. And then all of a sudden it makes people actually think and say, you know what? I'm not going to invest my money in that. I'd rather not, or at least are more aware when they go into the MLM. It's hilarious how she says don't focus on the birds, but she's putting all this power on the bird analogy.
Are just going to take some of this. Did I unbutton another button? My boobs are too big. Good God. Come on. Here we go, Gucci. Let's get it together. Okay. So look, he goes, you can chase the birds. Is this making sense to any of you? Thank you for sharing. You can chase the birds, but he says, if you chase the birds, where do you go? You go out of the field. And one of the most dangerous things you can do in your network marketing, not even just network marketing, any of your businesses, is leave the field. Don't leave the field and chase after the birds, right?
Okay, so I see how she's trying to connect it with other realities and everything, and that could apply. Caring about what other people that are illogical or actually have no real argument to what you're doing, right? No actual logic or basis for what they have to say or argue against what you're doing, then okay, don't chase after them, don't give a shit about it. But again, when we talk about MLMs and she's like, that's the most dangerous thing you can do is follow the birds, babe, that is the best thing you can do. But again, she labels it as dangerous because the more people follow after the birds that are trying to plant the seeds of knowledge and education about MLMs, it fucks people like her over.
Waste of your time and of your effort to go chasing after not only the seeds, right, that scattered around. You're chasing these seeds that have scattered around instead of focusing. But what are you going to do? Go fight every single person that doesn't like what you're doing, right? Spending all your time and your effort out of the field. You've literally left the field to go chase these birds and like knock out every bird. Like, good luck. Okay. So he says, keep on sowing. Jim Rohn says, keep on sowing. Okay. So it's the first thing, right? You like this, Norma? Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Villa in Puerto Rico. I love y'all so much. Thank you. Okay. So the second part of sowing these seeds, he says, is the rocky ground. And this is something that, this one kills me, man. This one breaks my heart. And if you are a mushball leader like me and you want everyone to win and you don't understand why people make 20 grand a month and stop, or 2 grand a month and stop, or $1 grand a month and stop, or $200 a month and stop, or no money at all and stop, right? It's this rocky ground, right? So maybe you've accepted, okay, so the birds, I'm not going to chase the birds, but what about the rocky ground? Meaning, he says there's different kinds of soil. There's different kinds of places. And I wouldn't worry about why the soil is different. Okay. He says this, right? He's like, look, sometimes a seed can literally get in the ground. And how many of you is anyone actually a farmer? I'm not exactly a farmer. Okay. But he says the seed can get in the ground. And have you ever seen a seed grow? So maybe somebody hits like the 3rd rank or the 4th rank or the 5th rank or even the 6th rank, right? And it's like you see this plant, right? You see it grow and it sprouts and you're like, progress. And then as soon as something gets a little difficult and the weather gets a little hot, he says, right? Like the pressure is a little hot on these people. The roots of this person are not deep enough. So the hot weather comes.
But for her to talk about how, well, you see some people grow and then they just stop. What? So she's like, again, I don't even, like, honestly, some of this analogy, it doesn't really make sense to me because, like, what the fuck is she getting at here? Oh, they stop? Why do they stop, though? Follow your own analogy, because when a seed doesn't work, I know this is going to really kick your ass, Jessie, but when a seed doesn't grow or something, it's because of the source or whatever's going on around them that's not helping it grow, not helping it cultivate into being a strong plant, not giving it the stability that it needs, not giving it the resources that it needs. It's the surrounding ecosystem's fault that the fucking seed's not able to grow. You know what I mean? That it doesn't have the tools to. So when we're talking about this analogy, maybe double check on it, because you're giving the illusion that the seed or the person that's planted into the ground doesn't have good enough roots. It's not about the roots. It's about the fact that the system or the ecosystem or the soil or the MLM is literally not working for them. And that's what we see in numbers. So again, check your analogies before you start running with them, because you just proved my point, weirdo.
Hot weather comes and the sprout shrivels. The sprout shrivels up and
the sprout shrivels up because the environment is fucking awful. Why do you think people don't stay in MLMs any longer? Because the environment is, say it with me, class, fucking awful. It's bad.
And the sprout dies. And he just says, hey, keep on sowing. It's the law of averages, right? And I want you to hear me on this, especially if you're a network marketer. What a lot of you do is you recruit a handful of people and you expect those people to be the people that take you everywhere in your career. And that's not how it works, because not everybody has a good foundation. Not everybody.
Exactly. And that is why this is such an exhausting cycle, because Jessie is saying you think you can recruit people and that's going to be it. Yeah, she's right. It's not, because people are going to realize the problems. They're not going to stay. Sometimes some of them might MLM hop because that's what they're used to doing, which honestly, I fully, completely understand. There's a lot of people that are not going to last in there. And I actually was having a conversation about this with a friend of mine because we were talking about MLMs, and we were discussing how even if you recruit a decent amount of people, that system can crumble under you like that. Again, we have seen, like, literally look at any examples of videos of people that are talking about MLMs, and when they cover leaders that leave, because guess what? Someone was negatively impacted by that. Lily Zaremba, for example, who just left, somebody was negatively impacted by that. Somebody was negatively impacted the fact that she was able to pull her downline, or as many as she could of that, and take it to a different company. Someone was just screwed out of a lot of money because of that. That was bad. That was an entire downline or leg or something that just took off, right? That happens. That's a reality. And so what do you do and how do you keep up? recruit, recruit, recruit. That is why they talk about recruiting so heavily and they push, because it's a variable. You don't know how many people are going to last. And because studies have shown that most people aren't able to last due to the shitty environment, due to the lack of money, due to the loss of money for that matter, then you have to keep filtering through people. And then there's nothing else you can do but recruit to keep it up. But yeah, she's right. You can't just depend on people completely for that. You have to continuously get people in.
Has good, strong soil, right? You're dealing with people where as soon as it gets a little hot, there's a little bit of pressure. There's one bad month. There's one bad week. There's one bad shipping thing. There's one bad product. There's one person quits on their.
I don't like this argument because I feel like she talks good about people, yet she's disrespectful about it at the same time. I don't think we get enough credit for the many generations that are existing right now because of the amount of shit that they've been able to plow through these past several years or even longer. I mean, I'm only 22, but like throughout my 22 years of living, there have been absolutely insane, monumental things that have happened that have been traumatizing for my generation and just many others for that matter. But a lot of us have been able to power through that shit, become resourceful, just do whatever we can. Is it exhausting? Absolutely. But I'm just saying, I think people like myself and other people who've been through this shit are tough as fuck. We don't give up on things easily. I don't think so, at least. And so it's funny to me because she almost acts as if majority of people are lazy and aren't tough. And I beg to differ. It's super important comparing this to other real life examples because it helps us look at it from a different perspective. We can look at some of the toughest schools in our country right here. We can look at colleges. We can look at small businesses. We can look at the failure rates of all of the dropout rates, even the toughest shit that, again, requires money up front, requires a lot of like independence and self-motivation. We do not see failure rates as high as we do MLMs. Genuinely. We do not see failure rates as that. So it's not about people that are lazy. It's about how fucking shitty your MLM is, Jessie.
They're done. It wasn't even firm to begin with. And you thought that those same 5 people were going to be the people who developed your entire business to top rank. That's crazy. Okay. A lot of people can't handle hot weather. All right. So the little sprouts or the big sprouts or the whatever the plant looks like in this case, I don't know, like I said, I'm not a farmer. Okay. Shrivels up and dies. And so he says, just accept it. Accept that some things don't stick, accept that some things don't pan out. You will lose customers. You will lose recruits. Some of your best ideas are not going to work out. But what's most important is you just keep sowing. You just keep sowing.
I am all about pushing through. I am all about belief. I am all about trying new things. I am someone that literally has lived that for trying to build up my career with anything. Trying new things, studying analytics, that stuff is very important. However, you also have to be self-aware enough to realize when something is not working, it's not working. Now, again, I will also like to say too that I believe that these MLMs are commercial cults. So it's very more intricate than that. But what I'm saying is she's pushing this concept of, well, you just have to keep going. You just have to keep going. You can't give up. Okay, well, also, after so long of doing this and it's not working, what do you expect people to do? Genuinely, I can't even imagine, because again, I've never personally been in an MLM before. I've witnessed a lot of people in them, but I can't imagine how emotionally exhausting it must be being involved with a leader where technically you're never good enough. You never hit rank, so you never re-rank to that one that you finally hit. You always have to show up, and you have this immense pressure on you to go to these events, host these live parties, a convention, have this belief, but you're not getting anything out of it necessarily. And so it's just emotionally draining. And then the pressures of, well, don't quit. I mean, of course you're going to fail if you quit. It's horrible. So it's so bullshit to me when we keep having this pressure of, well, just don't quit. Well, just don't quit. What the hell do you want people to do? And if anything, but if you are a good owner, if you are a good business owner or whatever, you should be wanting people to be self-aware enough to realize that something's not working for them, right? We should be encouraging and pushing people to, be able to think for themselves and realize when something isn't working so that way they don't waste their time anymore. But this is not encouraging people to think for themselves. This is encouraging people to be stuck in it.
Because here's the fact of the matter. And I'm not saying this to be a braggy biatch, okay, guys? I love y'all. Thank you, Denny. I'm not saying this to say anything about what I just have to say what I gotta say. If the entire team, and I mean 100% of the team quit, if 100% of our team quit, do you know who would still win? I would win.
You know what, Jessie? This is the fun thing about you, though. If that were to happen, I think that's kind of unrealistic because she has so many people that are up her ass and think that Jessie's a god. But if that were to happen, Jessie is someone that is known in this specific industry. Maybe not necessarily in others, in other important ones, but in this one, she's known. So it wouldn't be hard for her to simply hit up another MLM and be put on top of a bunch of people. I'm sorry, but I have full faith in that. I really believe that there would be a way for them to stick her with become a leader. It could happen because she has access to those resources. No one else does. Jessie Lee is on a different caliber of success in network marketing than most people do. So if everyone is like maybe, I don't know, Jessica from down the streets downline leaves and she had about 50 people, that fucks her big time and it's hard to rebuild that. Whereas someone with Jessie Lee who has more influence in this industry, she can, in my opinion, hop around and snag and do whatever she needs to do to be successful and have it essentially handed to her again.
It doesn't matter. If you quit and you follow somebody who's never built nothing ever before and they lie about being able to do whatever, or maybe you just don't like me anymore and you quit and that is so okay. Because do you know who's never going to quit? Do you know who's never going to lose?
Can we acknowledge the fact that Jessie is, in a way, again, being very disrespectful to her team because she's like, at the end of the day, I don't really need you. Like, I will always be fine without you. Kind of insinuating that, oh, go for it, leave. I'll be fine. I really didn't need you. In a way, again, trying to put it as if the value of her downline isn't as much. I still think that her downline is a huge importance to her because, again, that is a huge moneymaker for her. Is a downline. That is just the fact of the matter there. Downlines are a huge income maker for people. And again, that could also include customer sales. I don't know all the ins and outs of Pruvit that she's a part of, but what I do know is a downline is a big ass part of it, okay? And so it's so weird to me. She's like, I mean, I don't really need you. You do, babe.
Do you know who's never going to stop sowing seeds? Do you know who's never going to stop? Me. I'm never stopping. So you can quit when it gets difficult. I don't care. I don't care. You know, people are like, oh, it's not a good month. Really? Because I went to Europe last month and do you know who's on fire? We just had another German car earner. We have another rank 5 in Sweden. The UK is exploding right now because I went and I sowed seeds for an entire month in Europe. So thank you, Jim Rohn, for 11 years ago teaching me that principle that people are always going to quit. The only person you can control is yourself. So change your perspective on that. Stop wondering why things aren't the way you want them to be and start creating the life that you want, okay? All right, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Next. Okay, and I kind of already said this at the beginning, but it's okay, I'm going to say it again because I know there's a bunch of new people watching. Hi.
Right? So stop wondering why things aren't there that way and just simply do. You have to wonder what the fuck's going wrong so that way you can know what to do. No logic. No, not a thought. Not a thought is here right now. Wow.
Okay, here we go. Like Jim Rohn says, in order to continue to sow the seeds, you have to learn, write this down. It's probably the best thing I ever learned from him. Learn how to discipline your disappointments. Don't get upset when some things don't work out. Do you know why I don't do drama? Do you know why I don't block people unless they're vicious? I do block vicious people, okay? Do you know why I just don't? Like, if you go on and you move on to something else, I am actually happy for you. And it's not fake. It's because I'm not quitting. A. B, I'm not disappointed because I've learned to discipline my disappointments. I could go crazy. People want me to go crazy, right? They're like, oh, watch out for her. She's going to freak out on you. She's going to do this. No, the hell I'm not. That person's probably the drama. It's not me. My disappointment is always disciplined, right? I don't get upset when things don't work out, right? I accept them and I move on. A good sower keeps sowing. That's what Jim Rohn said. A good sower keeps sowing. So continue to sow your seeds. All right.
So she's trying to talk about disciplining your disappointments, which again, to me is a little bit of a aspect of toxic positivity. It's pretty much alluding to the fact that anything that comes your way that doesn't go your way or is disappointing in this industry, well, discipline yourself. You just accept it and move on. You should also have a process of accepting disappointment, but also acknowledging its existence and moving forward in a different direction to help yourself avoid that. Like, again, if I keep trying to do something and it's continuously not working for me, after so long I need to look at it and be like, okay, I keep getting disappointed. No matter what I do, it's not really working. I think I need to be done with that.
The third part of this principle he talks about is the thorny ground, okay? So far we've dealt with the birds, right? I wouldn't worry about that, right? Then we've dealt with the shallow ground and the hot and the heat, right? I wouldn't worry about that. And the third thing he talks about is the thorny ground. The thorny ground. Okay, so he talks about the seed falling on thorny ground, and again, your plant starts to grow. So this could literally be, maybe it's somebody who's had a lot of success. Doesn't even matter. Okay, and he says again, these plants die early because the thorns choke them to death. Okay, the thorns choke them to death, right? So I don't know if he says it like that. He goes, choke them to death. The thorns choke him to death, all right? The plants die early because the thorns choke him to death. And he says these thorns are the little obstacles that get in the way. It's the slight setbacks, right? It's the inconveniences of product or of recruiting situation or of price point or of whatever the hell. Just make the excuses. It's just thorns, okay? He said they're the slight setbacks. This is a good one, though. The stories that you tell yourself. The stories that...
Okay, that still doesn't make any sense with her analogy, though, because the thorns are choking the plant out and killing it, okay?
You tell yourself, Jessie Lee doesn't even like me. Our company isn't even going to open Africa. All these little tall tales you tell in your head because it's not happening in your timeline, right? That mindset of all these things are thorns, right? That these thorns, right? No, leaders see them as opportunities. You saw them as thorns because your mindset wasn't right. Again, I'm so glad I heard all this 11 years ago when I was a stupid 22-year-old. It changed my whole entire way I built business. So I hope this is changing the way you build business. Make sure you share this to your team, okay? And he says the thorns cheat good people out of huge opportunities. He says the best response to this is, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't try to figure out why the thorns come. Just move on and keep on sowing. Just keep on sowing.
This makes no logical sense in business because when things don't work out in business, what do? You want to sit down and figure out why it's not working. Like, that's what I've learned. I mean, again, only pointing back to that thing for a reason as here's my references. But no, seriously, I think this is kind of for anything, though, for absolutely anything. If something's not working, you have to sit back and really think, okay, why is it not working? What can I do to adjust it? How can I improve? Because you need to sit there and look at some of this stuff. If you have really big goals, if you have things that you want to adjust and make better or improve on, you have to take the time to look at it and work through it. You know what I mean? And this is trying to just like consider like aimless effort at this point and being like, oh, well, don't really linger on it, because that's the scary part for people like Jessie Lee. If people linger on their problems and look at it, they realize after so long that they're not the problem and the MLM is. Because again, if I sit here and if I look and I'm like, okay, shit, this this business thing is not really working too well for me. You know what? My marketing hasn't been that good. I'll start working on that. After so long of doing all these adjustments and making these changes, you hit a point in a rock wall with MLMs where you're like, I've done everything these leaders have told me and I'm still not getting anything. But again, if by Jessie's concept, if you linger too much on the problem, you'll realize that you aren't even a part of the problem to begin with. You did everything. The MLM is the issue. Of course, people like Jessie are going to encourage you to not look at it. Don't even pay. Just keep moving on. Just do something. Just keep going. Just keep going. This is so stupid. This doesn't even help people in actual business, by the way.
Just keep on sowing. Just keep on sowing. Just keep on sowing. Okay.
Is sowing recruiting? Like, I'm totally being serious here. Is sowing also referencing to recruiting?
Because look, here's the fact of the matter. Of course, this little parable has a good ending, right? At the end, the seed is going to fall on good ground. Okay? It's going to fall on good ground. You understand?
Jessie, I understand, but I don't think you understand that people can plant the seeds or do everything under the sun in MLMs. Even some of the biggest leaders that this woman knows of has planted the seeds, yet it didn't always work. Yet, after so long of planting the seeds, it was like, oh shit, my seeds aren't working. Nothing's working anymore, so I have to be in a different MLM. Even the biggest, most successful people in this industry cannot keep up with it. That is an exhausting life to live. And additionally, she also acts as if there is a good chance for your seed to grow or your success to happen or financial stability to come from this. Again, if the chances were higher and if this wasn't such a predatory system, no one would give a shit. But that's not the case at all, because that's what we see consistently, where no matter what people do, unless you're really early inside of an MLM, or if you're able to recruit like a crazy person, or if you're already a leader from a previous MLM and then you're able to MLM and hop after that and, you know, have pretty much guaranteed success almost, because you can possibly have more guaranteed success for a couple of years maybe, but if you work with the companies one-on-one. But again, this is not realistic. This is not the same as planting a plant, babe. What?
Ultimately, it's the law of averages, like he teaches. Ultimately, if you continue to sow, you're going to find the good ground. You're going to get to the point where your effort begins to pay off. For some of you, yeah, it's going to take longer because you are working way too much on your skill set. You're not working enough on yourself. That's just another different Jim Rohn principle. Okay. But look, your effort starts to pay off. You will start to begin to reap the rewards and results that you deserve. Okay.
Okay. And Jessie, how many people that busted their ass for years? How many people got even gas money? Gosh, how many people literally actually did after taxes and spending money on products and doing all that other extra shit? How many of them actually came out with a good profit? Just saying. Let's be logical here. How many people that you've recruited in your life, did they actually reap what they sow? Or did they think that they were getting a paycheck? Meanwhile, they were in the negatives because of how much money they were spending on this bullshit.
The important part to know, though, he always says, is that it only happens if you keep sowing. It only happens if you keep sowing.
And that is the toxic belief that we have. It only happens if you keep going. Not everything is meant to happen for you. And that is something that we all just have to accept. Not everything is going to work. Not everything does work for people. And that's for our entire life. Not every relationship that you work on is going to be healthy for you. Or is it going to, last? Of course not. Not every job is going to last. Not every opportunity. However, when we literally have proof that this does not work for most people, it's not even worth attempting.
Okay. And he says, why is it some good seeds only get 30%? Some good seeds only get 50%. Some good seeds get 70%. Some people get 100% out of the seeds and they have tremendous success. He goes, don't waste your time. Just keep on sowing. And that goes to, there's so many times we believe as leaders in people more than they believe in themselves. Stop worrying about that. Right? Just keep loving people. Just keep leading people. Just keep following the principles of the law of averages. Just stop trying to understand that, or start trying to understand that you can't control people. You can't control everything people do. You can't make people do anything. You can't make people want to work the business. You can't make people be consistent. You can't make people be disciplined. But there are disciplined people out there that you don't have to shove into a network marketing opportunity. There are driven people out there who you do not have to push and shove and beg to join your.
Yeah, absolutely. There are people that are driven. However, some of the most driven people can join an MLM and be drained because their skills have been absolutely smashed and berated, and they've been turned into an exhausted person because all of those beautiful skills and drive that they have are being put for very negative, not so ethical actions, or they're putting out so much they're not getting anything back in.
There are wildly motivated people who want to join you and make 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. Guys, nobody had to tell me to be disciplined in this, okay? I've made well over 8 figures in network marketing, no income claims. I'm freaking Jessie Lee, we all know, okay? I've made well over 8 figures in network marketing. It's not because of anything except for I was disciplining my disappointments. I was sowing my seeds. I was focused on helping other people. I just kept sowing.
Helping other people in this fucking industry is code for I'm recruiting people with the sugarcoating topping of I'm helping you.
I just kept sowing the seeds. And on days when it was not easy, I just kept sowing the seeds. And so stop getting so emotionally involved in trying to make people do what you want them to do. How's that working for your husband? Probably not well. How's that working for your friendships? Probably not well. So why would it be any different in business? Okay? Why would that be any different in business? Okay. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you don't already follow me, my name is Jessie Lee Ward. You can hit the follow button wherever.
All right. That was it. Moral of the story. Her analogy really wasn't very helpful to her argument at all. And at the end of the day, the FTC says that most people don't make any money in MLMs. And so therefore, don't join one. Don't listen to people like that because they make money off of you believing it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Stay glowing, everyone. Love you. Bye.